NextGen. This podcast series features interviews with dynamic youth from the region who have a different experience of current realities and visions for the future. Our guest today is Elion Kollçaku, whose most recent experience was as a teaching assistant and PR manager for one of the universities in Kosovo. Elion has the Master of Science degree in Public Relations. As a communications specialist and researcher, his main cause is to write papers and research topics related to gender issues, communications, and human rights in general. He has working experience in the civil society, publishing industry, and the media, both in Kosovo and Albania and abroad. He is currently a freelance scholar with a focus especially on gender and communication issues. Elion, thank you so much for being part of the Balkan Forum podcast.
Dear Linda, thank you very much for your invitation. I'm so glad to be here with you today and to talk about such an important topic that is media literacy.
Thank you. So my first question actually is, how did you become interested in a career and media and communications?
Actually, this is a very important question because I always loved media, and as a child I was obsessed with newspapers, magazines. I was reading all the time, buying lots of magazines and newspapers, and especially in Albania because in Albania you could find a variety of magazines and newspapers, and as a child I was writing for the most famous editors-in-chiefs and directors of media outlets and newspapers and magazines. So I was so involved in this world, even as a high schooler. When I was just a gymnast, at that time I was publishing a lot and writing a lot for all these media outlets. And then I discovered that I really love this profession, and I love media, and I just love being in this profession, even though not everyone was so happy because I was also very good in the sciences. So I decided to study media, and I still love media, and especially in this era, like when you have to be a responsible consumer and producer of information, it's very important to be vocal about the issues that media has nowadays. So not only for media but also for media literacy, I was involved, and I'm still involved a lot.
You actually raise a very good point there when you mention responsibility in being both a media consumer but also content producer. So actually, what are some of the biggest challenges or trends that you see in media consumption and the impact it has on society today?
Actually, the main issue right now is that we have to be critical of what we consume and what we produce, because I see lots of issues that are also related to media and journalists who produce information, because I was part of many training and seminars when I see that also journalists have the issues of ethics and the way how they produce information, because I understand that being a journalist is not an easy profession, because in the end of the day you are directed by someone, by a policy that an editor-in-chief has, or like just a director of a magazine, of a newspaper, just a portal has. So you are not completely open to write whatever you want. Like when we talk related to freedom of speech, of course that there's a limit, but also when we see that we have sexist like news, and also we have disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation, like the three main concepts that we hear like nowadays all the time. We see that we are having so many challenges related to information.
That's true.
Lots.
And especially the youth are under threat of this false information that is constantly attacking us. You have been working with youth a lot as a teaching assistant and through your various roles. Why do you believe it is essential, not just for youth, but also for all individuals, to develop media literacy skills?
Media literacy is highly important because when you are aware of what you consume, like to be a responsible consumer of information, of media products in general, then in that sense, when you are in that level that you know how to analyze the news, then you are in that level that you can think critically related to everything you consume. But for that reason, media literacy is highly important, especially for the youth. And especially I emphasize this with my students and also as a trainer for media literacy, that it's very important to know what we consume and how we consume it. Like to analyze every detail, the resources, like to see what was the message and who created this message, who's behind it, and who's the author, and how it was produced, like to know every detail of what we read. I know it's a challenge because nowadays we just consume information, lots of information. We are like having news all the time, but maybe we don't have the time to analyze every detail. But still, like we have to be aware of some questions related to information, so what we consume, just to know if this source is reliable and if we should trust it. And especially with the youngsters, like it might be easier right now because you know how to teach them how to produce information and how to consume information. But with older generations, I see that it's much harder because they trust most of the time what they see on social media. I had also this conversation with one of my cousins, older cousins, who believes a lot what he reads on Facebook, on social media. So it's a challenge, it is indeed, but still we have to be vocal, especially people who are involved in media and who know how it works, just to inform people to not trust, to not believe everything that they consume on social media.
To question everything.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's great actually to have you as one of the mentors in the project Media Smart, Youth Vlog Against False Information, which is a project implemented by the Balkan Forum with the support of Smart Balkans. This project has given you the opportunity to work with youth, with journalism students. How do you see the readiness of these future journalists or activists to fight false information? Are they ready to do that? And what skills do they bring to this fight?
I think that they are ready. I really love the energy of the group. I'm very happy to be a mentor of this program. And I see that they are ready, but they still just need to improve some skills. First of all, how to produce responsible information. And of course, like my group, it's gonna realize a video blog, a vlog that is related to propaganda. So they will know how to define propaganda. And imagine when they do a vlog to concretize, to say what propaganda is and how it's being produced. So it's very important for them to know how to share the information, because especially the people, the youngsters who are involved in media and who are producing the information, they should be aware of both ways, how to produce this information and how to absorb the information. And for me, it's very important, if I work like with media students, to know on this side how they give the message to the audience, to the people, because in the end of the day they are responsible of the information that they spread to people. So in this sense, it's very important for them to be aware of how to produce this information, to analyze everything, and to be cautious about the sources that they have, to know how to find the sources, to know how to produce the information, and to know who's going to be the target audience of this information that they are producing. So it's very important in this case to have a group of young people who are aware of these things, who know how to analyze and who know how to think critically of everything, and then in the end of the day to educate the audience of how to perceive the information. This is very important. So this is what I'm trying to achieve with my group.
And how and where did you gain your expertise in media literacy?
Actually, I do have a BA of journalism, so my background is related to journalism, like from my studies, and then again, I do have a Master of Science, as you mentioned in the beginning, which is in media communication, but I'm specialized on PR and public relations. So I really know how to deal with media literacy and why media literacy is highly important. And I've been also a trainer for many NGOs, not just in Kosovo, but I've been in different countries of the world, like in the Czech Republic, in Greece, different parts of the world. And it's very important to see how young people understand media literacy and to see how they produce information. Like, I was always interested to see how they analyze information and how they produce the information, because most of the time I've been working with people who are involved in media and who are producing content, just to see how they produce content and how they deal with their audiences. Because if you write something, you probably know who's going to be your audience, and you probably know what are they expecting from your site. But in the end of the day, you have to be cautious of what you write and just what you are giving to the audience. If you are responsible in producing this information and in producing this content, then of course that the audience, for the audience, is going to be much easier, because you are a reliable source, and then it's going to be a connection between the giver of the message and the perceiver of the message. So it's very important in this sense. So for me, it's been very important, like, to give the most important skills or have to be media illiterate in this sense. So it's very important, like, to promote media literacy, but still, in the end of the day, it's a challenge. It's a hard challenge, and it has to be a lot in this sense, especially in Kosovo, Albania, in the Western Balkans. So it's a challenge that will follow us for a while, but we have to work a lot related to this issue.
That's true. And it's great that you're one of the mentors working with the group of 20 students. We're so much looking forward to the vlogs that they will be producing. Thank you, Elion, for your contribution and for your time to be a guest in the Balkan Forum podcast. I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you very much, Linda and Balkan Forum. I'm very excited to be working with your group of students, and we'll stay in touch.
Definitely.